Hey, I'm Colin Weston with the Mod Golf Podcast. Thanks for joining me on our YouTube channel. So today I just finished up a great conversation on our long form audio podcast with a gentleman, and there he is. A bit of a spoiler there, but we'll introduce him in a second. And that is Brett Jaffee, who is the co-founder and CEO of Caddy Time. So an awesome entrepreneur. We had a great conversation about the story, the formation, the backstory of Caddy Time, and we're going to talk about a couple of different things here. Uh, First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull him on there. There you go. So you can see both of us here rather than bouncing back and forth. So, hey, want to welcome you back. Brett, welcome to the Mod Golf YouTube channel.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you for having me on here today. I
Uh,
appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so yeah, we talked about all the great things about what the origin story, what you've done, and why you do it. So I want to hear more about the future of Caddy Time. But before we do that, why don't you once again give us the elevator pitch so our viewers out there can know exactly what the heck is this Caddy Time thing that Colin's talking about?
Right now in North America, less than 1% of golf courses offer their golfers a caddy. And Caddy Time is an Uber like app that connects golfers across North America to qualified caddies. And caddies can sign up, and the golf savvy people can sign up to be caddies. And golfers who want to add a caddy, either for a competitive advantage or for just a leisure advantage, can do so now anywhere across North America.
Love it, love it. Okay, like I said, we talked about kind of what you've built and the kind of the audience that you've attracted there as far as users like myself as a player. How do you use the app to get a caddy or even caddies? How do you get on board for that? So we talked about all of that on the podcast. So I encourage you viewers to actually go back and listen to that awesome conversation. So I got the link down below. You can click on that after you've finished up here. But want to talk about the future and tied into that the power of partnerships because you haven't gone on this alone. So I want to hear about your team, even when you started to first create this. I'm sure as a founder, you just can't go it on your own. And it sounds like you've come from an entrepreneurial family, so you've learned from your dad and your other siblings as far as the do's and don'ts of entrepreneurship. So talk about that as far as you were building out Caddy Time, even before you launched the team players, because you can't be good at everything. You do have gaps. So tell us about that, how you as a leader and a founder have brought the right people on and empowered them to move everything forward here with Caddy Time.
My partner, my co-founder, is a guy named David Ryder, and I've known David forever. And when we came up with the idea and the business model and the business plan, we recognized on day one we better surround ourselves with smarter people than us. And we went out and we said we need a lawyer. We need a financial guy. We need a marketing officer. We're going to need people who can really take this dream and this brand and elevate it to the level that we wanted to be. I mean, we want to be a player in the golf space, and we had to do it right to make, how do you make yourself a real boy? And we just were really good. We took it to some real savvy people. We were fortunate enough to meet with a gentleman who was one of the original funders of Netflix, and he gave us some great advice at the beginning. And he said, "You guys have something here. You've got something that will sit alongside golf for years and years and years, and there's really no cost to keep it there. And it's a nice compliment." And golf and caddies have been around for about 400 years. They're not going anywhere. It's just their access has kind of gotten less and less, and that's where we came in.
Right. I like this. We talk about this, democratizing the ability for caddies, not only the caddies, but to get more rounds in, to make more money as far as that gig economy, side hustle, and then also the accessibility for myself as a player to perhaps try caddy, having a caddy for the first time. So that onboarding of the experience that you're able to do for everybody out there. So I'm also curious about this because you've managed to really scale up in a very short time. You only launched for, gosh, it sounds like only about a year or so ago. So the power of partnerships. How have you gone about that as far as strategic partnerships? So you're adding value for them too. So talk about that in the US and also in Canada, who you're partnering with in order to make your good thing great.
We got lucky. We had an opportunity to start introducing ourselves to the establishment. We had the opportunity to pitch Caddy Time to Kevin Thistle, who is the CEO of PGA Canada. And Kevin got it right away. He said, I'm looking at something that is an incubator program for me, a program that will expose, non-golfers to golf, create a more passionate involvement to golf, elevate the game for the everyday golfer, and create more members in PGA of Canada. I mean, it's a beautiful cycle that we've begun now. And Kevin was, how do we get this across the country and bring back a caddy culture to Canada? And Canada is an interesting group. I mean, they are golf savvy, golf thirsty, golf knowledge. They're a group that really embraces golf, and it fit so well. And there were other groups, PGA of Wisconsin, and then we took it to the Corn Ferry Tour, and the Corn Ferry Tour was telling us, our players burn a lot of calories finding caddies sometimes, and caddies sprain their ankles and wake up sick and get COVID. And suddenly there's an empty, round. And
Right.
how do we quickly get the word out and create? And so as a complement to what they're already doing, we now have a mechanism to make sure that there's not a lot of calories being burnt on that.
Got it.
The
Got it.
the other side, Colin, is the caddy side. If I'm a caddy and I go work at the Corn Ferry event and my golfer only doesn't make the cut, I have reduced what I'm going to make that weekend. My expenses will exceed what I make. And now with Caddy Time, I can caddy in between. I can caddy on my way home. I can caddy in different cities. I can mine rounds in different cities along the way. And Caddy Time gives you that ability. So it just got wildly embraced.
Yeah, yeah, like this. Well, a little fun fact: I know Kevin Thistle. I've actually had him on the Mod Golf podcast a couple of years ago. So he's a great guy. And you probably know the stats in Canada also, where I am up here in Vancouver, of course. There's more golfers per capita than any other country in the world. We have over, I think it's 5 million recreational golfers of a country of just under 40 million people. So yeah, not as many as in the States because you're almost 10 times bigger than us population wise. But yeah, it is a golf mad country. In fact, it's the most popular sport played by
Love it.
participation than any other sport. You think hockey would be, but it is not. So a great opportunity there. And I love what you've done there as far as using these partnerships in order to kind of amplify your ability rather than you and your team having to go one by one to every single golf course, to every single golf professional and start these conversations every time. Now you've got the ability through Kevin and others and the Corn Ferry Tour. They're the ones that then are amplifying the signal for you, and you've got automatic connectivity to all of their community and all of their professional affiliates also. So it's pretty smart. It's like you thought this through or something here.
Well, we pivoted at the right moments, and and in a new company, legitimacy and word of mouth are just two huge things that you battle for, and the partnerships gave us the legitimacy and the word of mouth at the same time.
Nice, nice. So when you started out, we talked about this early on the audio podcast. Is like you don't know what you don't know. You have some assumptions when you're just building your minimum viable product or your beta and trying to get it in market and getting it tested and getting some customer validation and feedback. But it sounds like other opportunities have revealed itself in a very delightful and potentially economically beneficial way, and that's with professional golfers. It sounds like you didn't see it at the beginning at that level. You're thinking more like myself, 16 handicap to scratch golfers that play 20, 30, 50, 100 rounds a year. But now you're seeing a whole new revenue segment. So yeah, dive a little deeper into that of what's revealed itself on the professional side for you with Caddy Time.
We just had no idea, and it was the more we got into it, it made sense that not every golfer is carrying their own caddy to all these different tour locations. And at the Corn Ferry and the Epson Tour, which is the LPGA version of the Corn Ferry, they especially do not carry their own caddies. The Epson Tour did a study of their players that got their LPGA cards. 80 to 90% of them were the ones carrying caddies. And now they've got a new initiative underway to try to help their players get caddies. And that's where we come in. And we're going to be part of that initiative because having a caddy is a strategic advantage. And getting to things we didn't see, tournaments, the member charity tournaments that take place all across North America every week. There are two things that shut them down, and it's pace of play and integrity of score. And a caddy satisfies both of those immediately. That when the scores come in, everybody feels confident that that's the score that got shot. You're not getting pencil whipped, and that pace of play gets maximized or optimized. That at least it's not a 7-hour charity round. We got through it and as well as we could, and everyone gets optimized, and the courses usually love that too. And those, we just didn't know that there was such a need in that area.
Wow. So hold on. So you're saying golfers, both recreational and professional, win, caddies win, golf courses win, professional organizations win. No one seems to lose here. There's no wrong answers.
The local community wins, the establishment, the PGAs, the Golf Canadas, all those organizations win. We're doing First Tee sponsorship. They win. Everybody wins. You're right.
Nice. So let's briefly talk about the future as we finish up here, Brett. So I understand that you're already in some other countries, kind of dipping your toe. South America, you're sticking with an English-speaking platform right now because that's simplest. You've already built that. How about markets like New Zealand, Australia, let's say even the UK, which is even a bigger one? So what's the future there for you?
We have already begun in all those English-speaking markets. South Africa is a market that we've begun in. They're very golf savvy, and we are beginning translating into Asian systems. And of course, Thai and Japanese. And then, that's just it's just a wonderful spreader of the joys of golf. And you touch on the foreign nature where a foreign golfer can request a specifically speaking caddy. So if I'm an English speaking person caddying in Brazil, I can ask for an English speaking caddy, and that becomes more of a connection, an ambassador to the area, and it really becomes a real meaningful caddy at that moment.
So, okay, to finish up here, because I love experiences, you're really creating not only something that is very functional and valuable on that level for the round of golf, but this is the opportunity for people to then have stories created around their experience with the caddy. So share with us, I'm sure you got hundreds, but one story from, let's say, a golfer or a caddy or both that makes you smile that you can share with our viewers here.
We do. I do have so many of them, and we've found that the caddies are getting deployed in a lot of these tournaments because the caddy becomes a competitive advantage. There's a reason that 100% of pro players take caddies on the PGA Tour. It's an advantage. It would be a disadvantage to not. We were in the early days giving away some caddies as try this experience. And we gave a caddy away to a young team that had never had a caddy before, was a little apprehensive, and they shot the round of their lives, eagled 17 to pull within a tie, and then after the round, they came up and hugged me to say that, what a terrific experience that was. And it shares that pro level experience with every golfer, that you get a sense of what it's really like to be out there playing at that level. And that's what I love about it. It spreads the joy of golf.
Love it. Love what you're doing here. Okay,
Thank you.
last question to finish up, and it's more of an entrepreneurship one because, as you mentioned on the audio podcast, you come from a, you got entrepreneurial DNA built into you. Your dad is an entrepreneur, and your siblings also. For our viewers out there that are considering entrepreneurship, they've got an idea, don't maybe know the next steps. Any encouragement or kind of cautionary tales or quick tips you can give people that are considering entrepreneurship, and what you would suggest to them?
Two things: do it, and expect it to be a lot harder than you think it is. And if you go into it with that, and every day take a step, you'll make it happen. And I've learned a lot out of the failures in my career, as a lot of entrepreneurs will tell you. You learn not what to do, but when not to do it, and those have helped me at the moment where we launched Caddy Time. I was really in a great position to be able to support this dream based on what I had done. So my advice is do it and expect it to be more difficult.
That's great advice. And that's the key with entrepreneurship. Rather than just talk about it and wait for it to be perfect, there is no perfect. Just get it out there. And even if it's just having conversations and build a prototype that may not even be an app in your case, you couple of screenshots or something that you can build just to start to get some feedback to see if there is any validity in what you're doing and that people actually will want to do something called pay for it. And then your customers become your best investors, right?
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. You
Good
got
stuff.
it.
Hey, so we finish up here, Brett. Why don't you share with our viewers here where they can learn more about Caddy Time if they're considering, hey, maybe I want to be a caddy, or like myself, it's like maybe I want to be a caddy. Maybe I want to get a caddy for my next round. How can they find where you are and also information about the app?
The website is the best place to start. www.caddytime.com. And Caddy Time is with a Y, CADDY, time.com. And there's on the website, golfer side, caddy side, about us information, links to the app stores, the Google Play, or on Android, as well as on the Apple platform. So we're easy to download.
Gotcha. Very, very active on Instagram also, I believe that you've got a lot of people sharing stories there. What's your handle on Instagram?
At caddytime.com, I think, or at caddytimegolf.com. And then we're on Facebook. I should know that, Colin, but I don't click it out very much.
There we go. Well, you know what? There is a graphic overlay while we're talking here that actually has that link on there, and I'll include that down below, obviously in the notes too, to make it nice and easy for viewers to check that out and download the app, which I haven't done yet, which I'm going to do. And hey, maybe I'll not that I have a lot of time. I'm too busy editing podcasts and videos, but maybe I'll have a little side hustle, see if I can make a little money on the side here, and maybe I'll be a caddy in Greater Vancouver. There you go.
Would love that. Film that for us, please.
I will. I'll do that for you, buddy. All right. Hey, Brett, great to talk to you again. Thanks so much for joining me today on the Mod Golf YouTube channel.
Thank you, Colin. What a pleasure.